Okay. Oops, I didn't turn this off. So, I am looking at this, and I've seen something that I didn't catch before that I think is just a really cool thing that he did. And I like it so much, I'm going to try to take some of this out and recreate it for you, even though you've done it probably, or maybe you haven't, because I know some of you are running behind. But you could take it out if I can take it out. We'll see what happens here. But here's what I'm looking at that I really liked so much. I don't know if you can tell it on the video, so you can look at your copy here. But this leg, the color in here is actually flows out into this area. This wash in through here was all done at once. And then he came back and divided it up with just that little bit of a black line. So there really wasn't any color change in here. You know, there's a value change, it gradually changes. But then it's just defined with that line, which is just really cool looking. So I've already got this. So I'm going to try and take this back, and we're going to see what happens. Well, I'll try to turn it this way. You know, when I show it this way, it's really not much of an advantage for y'all because it's so foreshortened that they look really weird. I think they look better from the side. But let's see what this will do. Oh, yeah. Look at here. So that will do enough that I can put color in and get some of that look. It won't be as good as his, but, you know, I wasn't expecting that anyway. And I'll just do a little bit on this side of the hand, too. If I can do it without messing up the hand. Okay. So we'll come back to that in a little bit. Okay, I also took Mr. Clean, and I softened this area on the cheek right here and right here on the back of the hand a little bit because I wasn't happy with those. Okay, so what are we going to do first now? Well, one of the things is I was going to put, you know, this pencil makes a better pointer. I was going to put a, I need to turn that off. Sorry about that. There. I was going to put, you know, a second wash on here with the darks, but I really don't have any of this anywhere near dark enough. This is a tan, rugged looking guy, and that peachy soft skin just doesn't cut it. So we're gonna deepen the wash that is already here, and then when that's dry, we're going to come back with a second wash. One of the things I want you to notice that may have been confusing, but his eyes don't show at all. He's wearing sunglasses. You can see the sunglasses over here, but on this side, you can barely see it on your copy. If you look at your copy closely, you can see it when you know to look for it. And I think that just works better here than trying to define eyes that we have no placement for anyway. All right. So we were using, what were we using? We were using Quin Burnt Scarlet and, well, I guess I didn't have skin tone mixed up here anymore, but there's some burnt umber here. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see what that looks like on top of this other. It looks pretty brownish right here, but I'm not sure that that's what it's going to look like on top of this. Oops, I'm getting sloppy. That's maybe just a little bit. That's pretty close, but it could use a little something else. Okay, I'm gonna lay that in, and I'm going to mix. I'm going to mix a little burnt umber into this top part while it's wet. But I can pretty much just do what I already had here. Okay. And some of this is beard under here, so we're going to. All right, so as we come in here, we're going to soften this cheek area a little bit. Oh yeah, see, that looks more cowboy-like. Now remember, it's still going to be lighter than this when it dries. Let's pick up a little more of that. Let's get on down here on the neck. And then as we get right down here, this is that undershirt. He's wearing a shirt, see, here and here, under this other long sleeve shirt. So I'm going to run all this together for now, and then we're going to come back and separate some of it later. Okay, we'll do something like that. All right, and then I'm going to pick up a little of this burnt umber. It's very dry. See, it's dried in the palette. And I'm going to add some in under here while it's wet. And maybe I'll pull a little of it back this way. We'll just blend this edge right here because we want this to all read as kind of one shape. You know, this has that lost edge in there. Pretty near lost edge. Okay, I'm pretty good with that. So I have color here that's working for me right here. And all that is Quin Burnt Scarlet with a little bit of burnt umber in it. I don't usually use burnt umber on skin at all, but you know, this is an almost human. So here's a shadow on his skin from this shirt. The second shirt. I know a lot of you are having trouble following this. And I really can't do anything about it other than hope that we'll be able to do classes soon. However, I have a lot of people that even when I'm doing classes, they like to watch these videos because it helps them. I have a couple of people that watch the video before class when I've got one up before class because it helps them understand what's going on in class better. Okay, so we've got that all darker. Mine isn't as dark as his. I kind of prefer this. We're going to let that dry. So let's see, where should we go next? Well, we can work with this shirt. So you can see one of the things he did here that I think I talked about last week. He kind of brought the background and the foreground together by pulling a little bit of an olivey color into some of his shadows right here. So let's do that. Oh, and then we need to do the stripes yet. And the stripes really add a lot to this. Anytime you've got a pattern of something, it can just do a lot for a painting. As long as you don't overdo it. And by overdo it, I mean not make it too real. You don't want to put every stripe in, you just do a few. And he says, and I'm reminding you for probably the third time here, because I think this is an important thing that people are apt to forget. He says if you put the stripes in on the highlight side, don't do it on the shadow. Or if you put it in the shadow area, don't do it in the highlight area. And a favorite place for a lot of people to put something like that is in that transition tone between the light and the dark. If you have a transition tone. Sometimes you won't have, but okay, so here's a little bit. Oh, that's way too green. That doesn't look like a shadow at all. Okay, well, I'm just going to go with this stuff here then. Let's see what that'll look like. Okay, that's too strong. I don't like that either. Okay, that's not really an olive. I guess it's time for me to get out the paint and do some mixing. This isn't working. Oops. Okay, I'm just making sure the camera's on. I always worry that that I forgot to turn the camera on. Okay, so we've got this kind of, well, it's got a lot of phthalo green in it. Let's just put some burnt umber in that. Oops. All right, let's put some, here's what I was talking about last week. Let's put some of our Queen Burnt Scarlet into that green. Let's see, I'll just use a little of it. Oh, it's too much of it. Okay, that will really kind of deaden it. Because that's what we need right here. We need something that feels like a shadow. Remember, shadows don't have a lot of bright color in them usually. Doesn't mean that people don't do that sometimes and make it look really good, but generally, it's not the best move. Okay, that spot's too wet. Let's go up here. We've got a shadow. Oh yeah, this is perfect. We've got a shadow right here. See, it's got interesting edges on it because this fabric is rumpled up. It's not smooth over his body. Let's see, I'll pull that up into the hair. And then, where'd it go? Okay. Let's do a little bit more right here. Okay, is that too dark? Here, let's just come in with a little bit of water. And then we'll pull a little up. There. Just be careful not to pull. Oh, that's just the way I wanted it. Every now and then that happens. Generally, when I've got the video recorder going, it doesn't happen. Okay, there. Oop. Clean spot. Okay. Maybe. You don't want really ragged edges, but you can have interesting edges. There's a difference between interesting and ragged. Ragged would be kind of, oh, let's see, I can't make ragged now. It would look kind of spokey, kind of, you know, like that. See, that doesn't look like fabric because it's just too, whatever. What you want is just nice kind of little puddle shapes. And they'll usually go with the flow of where a wrinkle would be. The other thing you don't want to do, now if someone's got really tight pants on, let's say this is their leg and they're wearing really tight pants. Well, then this is going to work where you have the darker edges and then you make it lighter in the middle like this. It's a bad job of it, but there we go. But for most clothing, most of the clothing that particularly when you do it on these little almost people, most of the clothing is kind of flowing and loose. And so you won't have that kind of thing where it's just dark at the edges. Instead, you'll have things more like this. Now, this is not a perfect description of a fold by any means, but what it is it's kind of decorative and kind of like a fold. Let's see, and then he's got a shadow right here, and I don't know if the shadow right there makes any sense at all, but, oh yeah, that's his watch. Darn, I forgot. Well, shoot. Kind of did a lost edge down here. You know what, I got that a little bit the wrong shape, but that's supposed to be his watch. Okay. I knew something was wrong. Okay, so we need some shadows right in here, and, oh, okay. So as we're working across him this way, we still got some of this, whatever color he used here, coming across for a little ways. He's got a suggestion or two of a stripe. Oh, that's way too dark. There. Okay. There. That's a suggestion or two of a stripe. It's got a shape right there. And he's got a couple of little thingies on here. What's that? I don't know. Maybe he was putting some kind of shadow in under here. I don't know what it was. All right. And then the color begins to change a little bit. It begins to get a little bit grayer. Maybe I can get away with that by putting a little bit of indigo into this mix. See, I'm trying to work out this one little spot, which isn't really smart. One should have a clean spot for this. Don't do what I'm doing. Okay. So, you know, he's like got some buttons, or I don't know, it almost looks like somebody slung paint at him again. There's a little bit of a stripe there. To see, it gets just a little bit bluer. And then up here, it's kind of on the edge of all this, looks like. And then he's got some deeper color in here, but it's not as dark as on the other side. So I'm going to thin it out a lot. You know, I just don't have a thing in the world against blotting to make up, to lighten something. But what I do want here is I do want crisp edges. Pale, but crisp. There's a couple more stripes. He's got a stripe in here. I'm trying to imitate him, at least in spirit, if not exactly. And that's what I would want you to do with me too. In spirit, but don't get hung up on making the exact same moves I do. If you do, it'll drive you crazy. You don't do that in class. You can't, because you can't watch the video and try to imitate exactly what I'm doing. I actually have a couple of people that it's just about driven them nuts trying to do this. And I think part of that is probably because they're trying to just do a step-by-step, because they have the opportunity here. But they wouldn't be doing that in class. Okay, you know, I think I want to make this area in here a little darker. I just think it needs it. Soften one edge, maybe. Not much. Okay. Yeah, this just isn't as interesting as his is. And I don't know why. Other than that, let's take a little bit of raw sienna. You know, if your work's looking too plain, sometimes all you need is a pale bit of something kind of scumbled in a couple of spots. See how pale that is? So you would think, well, that's nothing. Why did I even do that? Well, it still adds interest. That's why you did it. think I'll take another spot over that right here. I mean, why not? Okay. So, okay, I'm going to have to take a break and dry this. Oops, before I dry this, I made another mistake. Last week, I put this up too high. This comes down to right there. So what I want to do is, again, God, I love these sponges. I don't know how I ever painted before they made these sponges. Well, then I hardly used them for years. Okay, so I'm going to soften the edge on that so that I can extend it without it looking like I extended it. Okay, now I'm going to go dry it. Oops. Okay, oops. I'm climbing up in my chair. Okay. You know, I like this better like this. The one that I did before, I just got to looking at it, and it's got blue legs. I mean, both legs. I made it blue, and I liked it better. I think I'm going to put a blue tint in here. Okay, let's see. So basically, let's just pick up a teeny bit of indigo. Whoops, brush isn't wet enough. I didn't have this brush primed yet. A tiny bit of indigo to give it some blue tint. Or maybe a bit of, okay, let's try ultramarine, because it's on top of already grayed down stuff. I used ultramarine over there before, but I don't think I did over here. I don't remember. Let's just blue that up there a little bit. And right here a little bit. So this is ultramarine, is what I decided on. See how I'm just touching it in there until I get the amount of color that suits me? All right. Yeah, you know what? I like that better. But I like the idea of having it merge over into this other color. And so I'm thinking, wait a minute, let's just take some more of this blue. Okay. Oh, that's kind of extra blue. I didn't want that dark. And I don't have a paper towel up here. Whoa. Gotta hurry. Okay. Let's see, that's soaking in. And partly, see, I scrubbed this area. I scrubbed fairly hard here. And so the paper's damaged here. Whoa. And it is really absorbing this blue more than I wanted it to. So, see, I was trying to make a soft edge there. And then I was going to come in with this, this sort of, the Quin Coral and the burnt umber mixture. Yeah, I think I want more burnt umber. Not because it makes it more like his, whoa, but because it's just how I'm feeling at the moment. I'm having a burnt umber feeling kind of moment. Yeah. Okay. So we'll let a little of the umbers flow over into there. See, we're letting this kind of be a mixture. Maybe I'll put just a little bit more blue right into there. Okay, that looks kind of stone-like anyway. Oh, yeah, I like this. I've already got, you know, a mixture here now. He left a little white twinkle under there. My twinkle's not going to be white anymore. Okay, let's stop with that. And let's go ahead and do some of the same thing over here. We've got a, see, we've got a big rock shape there. And, you know, that almost looks like masking in here, except I just don't believe he bothered with masking. just has something about the texture to it. It looks masked. Okay, there's some burnt umber, and here's some more of the Quin Coral. It's got a little burnt something in it, and I'm not totally mixing them together. I got more umber in one, and okay. Yeah, I want more umber to start out with. I don't want that red next to him. Well, that looks pretty strong, and it's not quite what I meant to do. You know, a lot of the time, these are never quite what we meant them to be. Okay, let's stop, and let's put a little bit of raw sienna into that. Well, that didn't look very raw. Yeah, it's just, okay. There. I pulled some of it up. Now you can see that there's some raw sienna in there, just to get a little bit of change. And then let's pick up a little bit of blue. And by blue, I'm using an ultramarine. Just drop a little in somewhere. We want it to look kind of rough. It's a rock, you know, it's a rock there. I don't think I've got this strong enough to balance with it. Let's put some more brown and red in right over here. See, that's still wet. Yeah, that's probably good enough right there. And then we got an area that's a little, just pick up some of this raw sienna and stick right over here. Okay, so I'm going to use a little raw sienna and a little burnt umber. Whoops, picked up the wrong paint. Here's the burnt umber. I promise I'm not drinking, it just sounds like it. Okay. Let those run in together a little bit. Well, I don't want the fuzzy edges, so I'm going to work it a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to come down here and we'll pick up a little more of the burnt umber. So this is a little different color rock. Yeah, I guess this has got mortar in between or something. And this area right in here is a lot lighter, so I'm going to let this get dry before I come back to it. Just something like that, see? Over on this side, he's gone. And I said, make these rocks yours. You don't have to paint the rocks that he painted or the rocks that I painted. I don't want you to get too hung up on making this a certain way. I'm trying to treat this, though, like it's a rock. And I'm going to make a little, you know, lighter colored mortar in between, which he didn't do on this side, and you wouldn't have to. But I'm just kind of in the mood for it. Because it's been a beautiful day. And our Linda is getting well. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's wonderful. So, okay. Pick up some. Oh, that wasn't what I thought I was picking up. Oh well, here. Yeah. Actually, that's pretty good there. A little bit of something dark gray looking. No, I don't want that there. Let's see, is that dry enough? We could probably... And he left some whites. You know, he leaves a few little bits of white here and there. Okay, that's not too bad. Actually, you know, my wall got kind of whompy jawed. It's kind of going uphill here or something. Yeah, there. Okay. So let's go back and deal with the skin for a while that's drying. And I'm taking a smaller brush. So we've got the coral, and we've got some burnt umber here. We're going to, I don't know, make it a little bit more burnt umber than before. And we're going to work on a couple of spots. Now, he's got sunglasses on, and I'm going to make his a little more obvious. They're just like, he's got like little rectangular sunglasses. Well, that looks crude, doesn't it? Because it's way too dark. It needs to just barely be a suggestion. Well, okay, that's not quite it, but we'll live with it. I didn't mean to get that dark edge there. That's where my pencil kind of burrowed into the paper, I think. So let's do a little ear stuff here. And then we need a little of the same right in under his chinny chin chin. He's got kind of a jowly looking place, you know, that shows his age. This isn't some young whippersnapper here. Okay, let's put a little suggestion of a nostril in. Now those glasses are terrible. There. It's getting a little darker. Okay. Something there. That's good enough. Okay, now all we need is a mustache and stuff. And I know some of you got a little bit ahead of me. Now, I'm not getting on to you. Exactly. But sometimes when you get ahead of me, then you miss the instruction on it. It's not that you had to do it exactly like I did it. It's more like there might be something more that you could learn from this, except if you get ahead, sometimes maybe you miss out. But then maybe you learn something else. So we'll live with it. Okay, so some more burnt umber. No, what we need is burnt umber and ultramarine that makes sort of a grayed brown. You know, more like the raw umber that I don't have you buy. Just because you don't need it. You know, I don't want you to have to, you already buy a lot of colors. I don't want you to have to buy everything under the sun. Some people will anyway, and that's fine. Okay. Oh. You know, just not thinking here very clearly. Okay, I want the blue. Oops, wrong blue. I want the ultramarine, and I want the burnt umber. I keep dipping into the permanent brown instead of the burnt umber. Okay, so there's the burnt umber. Now what we want is we want to get more burnt umber than blue. That is, we want it to look brown, but we want it to look gray brown like that. And we've got a lot of that throughout the painting, actually, little bits of it. I think we do. And we don't want it to be too strong. So let's just look at this mustache. It's a big big fat mustache. However, there's sunlight on it on that side. So I'm going to come down this far. Am I on camera right? Okay. I'm going to come down this far. And then I'm going to add water. Pull a little mustache down like that. And, oh, we're into the beard. I'll make that a little more reddish right there. I don't know if that's skin showing or what it is. And then wash your brush off and go back into this grayed brown and add in, because he's got a beard. I guess my beard is getting a little more prominent than there. Now on the other side we need, or what he used, and this works for me, he used a washed out, you know, it's the same stuff, but it's just washed out. I think we need a little more over here. It's killed too much. There. Now, that's not a bad looking mustache. Now, what you'll notice, though, is that we've got white here, and that's, he's done the skin as white. I really think, I'm getting really tempted to add a little bit more pale beard color right here. Left a little something there. Must be his lower lip. And then I'm going to take a little bit of just a tiny, tiny bit of skin color, real pale. And I'm going to wash it in over here to make his other cheek. There. I think it makes more sense like that. Your choice. You can do it either way. I'm going to use a little bit more color right here too. Oh yeah, I like that. We'll go a little darker in under here. And fade that out again. There. Okay, I like the face. Now let's come down here on the hands. Oh, this is where his sleeve is, and this is the side of his shirt. And he put in some light something in the background. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make some dark background color. Actually, it's a whole lot like his shadows. It just shows you he's on the skinny side. And right here, if you look at this one, you can see this is a little darker behind the hands. So it puts the shirt sleeve back behind the hand. You can see right here the value's really, really close. So again, I'm just going to take some, whatever I've got. I don't even know what that is. Enough of something that's kind of a gray that I can make this area a little bit darker than the hand, and then I'll just fade it out up this way. There. Heck, I might even give him a little bit of a crease there. Okay. So, I'm going to make this hand behind that hand. How? Well, I'm just going to take a little bit of more of my skin color that's got the brown in it. And I'm going to come along here. And then let's soften that edge. Okay, let's use a little bit more of that. And put the shadow side of the fingers in. You could even show where one of his knuckles are if you wanted. just taking water and filling that out to the edges. I don't know if that works. I think that's a little overdone. Let's just soften the edge. That ought to do. Okay, what have we got left? Oh yeah, we've got all this rigmarole over here. That's kind of too close to the colors. Let's the skin. Let's add a little Queen Gold. When in doubt, add Queen Gold. Since that's wet, I'm not quite touching it. I'll make a nice little gap there. Okay. Taking more of this, you know, this gray that I made with, it basically it's phthalo green and burnt umber. Oh no, it wasn't. It was phthalo green and quin coral. Let's add a little more quin coral in here. So it's just sort of a greeny, really dull greeny gray. Let's see, we've got a few more. I don't know what this shape is. I'll just make it because it's there and I wanted to. So I think I'll stop here and I'll come take a last look at it in the morning. We've got a few little things to do to it yet. Okay, a little bit of finish up here. So, okay. Some things I want to do. I want to reinstate that black outline that I had here and put in just a few little pops of this and that. So I'm getting some black out, I hope. Oh, I should have pre-wet this black. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that out of there or not. I may have to use something else. I've got this brush. Some of y'all know about this one. Okay, this is that Lou Cornell 70-20 Ultra Round. So, a number of you have been having problems with following me on the video, which, you know, I kind of struggled with that, trying to figure out why. Because in class, so the comments I've heard is that I'm turned the wrong direction and that you can't do what I do. And the thing is, in class, most of you are looking at this upside down or sideways or something. And then you go back to your area and you do it. Of course, I'm there. But a lot of the time I don't help you. Let's see, let's just put in kind of a dancing happy line here, see? Get a little bit of that. And then maybe a few little pops of it. I think that's too dark. Let's see. Let's thin that out a little bit. I've just got that, you know, that super dark green mixture I made with the phthalo green and the burnt umber. Just thin that out a little bit. Let's just do a little bit over here too. This side needs a little pop to it. It's just missing something. I don't like that spot right there. Okay. His jeans are really rumply, aren't they? I may have them a little too rumply. So maybe a little extra pop of dark there. Give it a little line here. And up in here, I wanted the hat to merge with the background a lot, but maybe not quite that much. So let's just pick up a little something dark here. It doesn't much matter what I pick up. Let's give it an edge in one spot, because the whole side of the hat was blending in, and you don't want the whole side to merge. There. Okay. What else does he need? I need someone here telling me what to do. You know, I would still, I think I'm going to put a little shading on the side of that boot. Yeah, I think I'm going to, he's got a little shading there. I think I'm going to add a little something. That doesn't, you know what, because I used raw sienna there, but that's just not compatible with the rest of what's down here. That looks bad. Let's just use some of this other washed out. Okay, see, that goes with the boot more. I wanted to add a little more color, but I was wrong. And you know, most of his figures do not have a totally, you know, a lot of soft edges. I've got some soft edges here and, you know, a few spots like right there. But this doesn't have very many soft edges in it. And, you know, I'm liking that look. You know, this is just one of many looks that you could do. I'm taking some more of this. See this blue? It's burnt umber and ultramarine. I'm going to deepen this a little bit. Yeah, I'm adding an extra little something there. Yeah. You know, that makes it kind of, let's just deepen this too. It's like, I don't know, his butt just doesn't look right, does it? Let's give him a little shape over here. And you know, now that I look at it, Mel has got a little bit of shape in here. That's just, it's just a bit much. Okay. And, oh yeah, we need the gray in here. And I'm going to use a warm gray. And here we go. This is just, again, the burnt umber with the blue. It's just got a little, maybe a little more burnt umber in it. I'll let that all dry up. Okay. About like that. I'm just going to fill that in here. Don't have to do it perfectly because you can leave some sparkles there. That's too much like this. Let's make it a little grayer. There. Okay. Oh, there's one other spot. I think his mustache looks a little crooked. I'm going to make a little more mustache over here. There. You know, that's sort of nitpicking. That's doing tiny little things when this is supposed to be an almost person. But you can see that we don't have individual beard hairs. We're not even really showing a mouth. We've got sunglasses there. There's you know, there's not all that little finicky kind of detail that you might normally put on a face. These hands are very much suggested. They're nearly just silhouettes of hands with a couple of bends on them, you know, for knuckles and stuff. That's it. You know, it's very, very simplified. The background, the only thing wrong with that background is, you know, this over here, I really kind of botched it. And if anything, I might scrub that back and reinstate it, but I can't fit it in on this video. So I'm just going to put in some splatters because I think it's in desperate need of splatters. There. Is that too many splatters? Nah. Oh, splattered his face. Oops. Okay, that's it, guys. That's the end of Almost Cowboy. Oh, so here he is. I said that was all of it. The thing that I was trying to explain a while ago is that, you know, when I'm demonstrating in a classroom, y'all come up there, you watch me upside down, sideways, every which ways, if you can even get in where you can see. So I think the problem with doing it from the video is probably that people are trying to follow me exactly instead of the way they would in the classroom, which is to just watch a little bit and go do what you think you saw, not try to follow every stroke. That's all. Have a good week. I'm addressing envelopes as we speak.